Dito po tayo ngayon may Marikina City para Marikina River Restaurant. So katatapos lang yung conference.
Boss Benny, paano? Ganda-gandang pa rin. Hindi nagtatago.
Yan. So mga present po ngayong umaga, no? So andito sila DNR Secretary Roy Simat, MMD, yan, si Marcelino Teodoro, ayan, Undersecretary ng DPW Sir Roberto Bernardo. Ayan, welcome po. Ayan, para lang sa ano, no, kung ano pong meron ngayon. So recently nga po, last November, yung bagyong Ulysses, talagang muling umapaw itong Marikina River, nag-cause ng pagbaha, tsaka yung ibang mga big city as well as Rizal province. Ng ating gobyerno, bumuo siya ng which is yung Build Back Better Task Force para naman dito sa Marikina River. Ayan. Maliban sa Marikina River, no, ang ating task force ay may ongoing rin na restoration para naman doon sa Cagayan Valley, Cagayan River. And so antay-antay lang po tayo umpisa itong press conference. Vlogs natin mamaya tungkol sa nangyaring ganap doon sa may ilog po, no? And welcome sa ating live. Ayan, nandito rin po sila Yusek Porda ng DNR, si Yusek Jonas. Finally, at least, no, ma-address na isa sa mga main problem ng Marikina City tuwing lalo na pagtuloy-tuloy yung pag-ulan. DA, DPWH, Marikina City LGU, at ang ating ano rin, no, Philippine Army. Nandito rin po. Kamusta po kayong lahat? Wala po muna tayo sa Manila Bay. Wala muna tayo sa wala muna tayo sa Pasig River. Muna tayo, no, sa Marikina nga dito sa napakagandang proyekto ulit ng ating gobyerno, which is ang Marikina River Restoration. Ayan. Kung sa infrastructure project ng government, meron tayong build task force. Dito naman po sa restoration ng Marikina River and Cagayan River, no? Yan naman po ang Build Back Better Task Force. So today, mulan yung dredging tsaka ang ilog ng Marikina, kasi may mga portions daw yan sa kahabaan ng ilog na illegally sinakop at tinayong pictures ng lawak, which is nasa 90, supposedly 90 meters. Yung lapad ng ilog nasa ano na lang, kumipot ng 45. So isa yun sa mga i-address para mas ano nga, kasi nai-stack daw yung daloy ng tubig palabas po ng Pasig River. So yan, magsimula nga itong conference, and thank you so much sa mga nakatutok po sa ating live ngayong umaga. Ayan ang flooding in Metro Manila, Pasig to Marikina. Ayan. So ayusin din yun, maliban sa Marikina River, yun sa mga ayusin. Kanina ni Secretary Simato sa ilog, parang nagiging stagnant yung tubig. Ayan, so habang di pa nagsisimula po ay feel free. And good morning Sir Carlo de Mesa, Ma'am Rebecca Abad. Ayan, magandang po. Namang napakagandang proyekto ng national government. Grabe yung ano, yung effect especially ni ano Undoy sa lungsod ng Marikina and nga last November yung bagyong Ulysses talagang nalubog na ilang po parte ng Maynila and Rizal. Yan, so i-address na po yan ng ating government. Yan, sa tulong nga po ng ating binuong task force, yung Build Back Better Task Force. Esmeralda, Ma'am ayan, good morning. Aba, nasa Marikina naman po kayo. Kaway-kaway po from Qs. So, na-invite tayo dito sa Marikina River Restoration Launch.
Ano lang po, pag nagtatanong po, tayo doon, iurong po yung mic, si Dr. Conchita. Kasi hindi po mag-moderate yung first point after all the initial activities.
Ma'am Vilma Soriano, good morning. So mamaya meron po tayo mga updates kung ano po yung mga naganap doon sa Marikina River po kanina bago tayo pumunta dito conference. Yan. Ma'am lang ang galing neck ito tuloy-tuloy na. Ayun. Tuloy-tuloy na po. Yan, sabi ni Ma'am Beverly Ann Sapanta. Ayan, good day. Hope ma-update mo din kami, sir, about building subway. Umpisa na po ba? Ayan. Sige, subukan po natin, no? Yung sa subway. Ricky City, Mayor. Good morning. Yusek Bene Antiporda, Secretary Simato, ayan, present na rin. Hello po sa mga kababayan natin sa lungsod po ng Marikina. Ito na po, no? Yan, hopefully this project will address yung ating incident na nangyayari sa ating lungsod tuwing nagkakaroon po ng pag-ulan, lalo pa pag may mga bagyo po, no? So maliban nga doon sa dredging, so papalalimin, then syempre yung mga kumipot na parte, so ayusin, no? Babalik sa palalaparin ulit. And kasabay nun, nilaunch din kanina yung bamboo planting para sa gilid ng ilog. Brizo TV, good morning. Yan. Ma'am Beverly Ansapanta, good morning po. Salamat sa pagtutok yan sa ating live. Hesoyam Bogovics, ayan, shout out from Surigao. Alpaca Paro watching, ayan, salamat po. Tutok lang kayo dahil malapit na po magsimula itong press conference dito. Ayan, so once again po sa mga bagong pasok sa ating live stream, andito po tayo ngayon sa launching po no ng Marikina River Restoration. Ayan, to address nga itong mga flooding incident na nangyayari sa lungsod ng Marikina. Kasama yung mga karatig lugar gaya ng Rizal Province, yan, Pasig City, other cities dito po sa Metro Manila. Ayan, so once again, ang ating mga VIPs ngayong araw, si DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, ayan, DNR Secretary Roy Simato, ayan, Marikina City Mayor Marcelino Chodoro, and MMDA Flood Control Director Sir Baltasar Melgar. So bago po nyo makalimutan na pa-thumbs up naman po ang ating live stream ngayong umaga dahil magsisimula na po itong ating program, and sana samahan nyo po ako hanggang mamaya, no? And once again, good morning sa lahat ng ating viewers.
In 2 minutes, we will start the program.
From Balatbat, ano ganap bro? Ito po, launching po ng Marikina River Restoration. Ayan.
We would like to acknowledge the officers who are here. Secretary Roy Simato, Marikina City Mayor Marcelino R. Chodoro, Undersecretary Benny Antiporta, Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, Undersecretary Attorney Jonas Ariones, Undersecretary Attorney Juan Miguel Tuna, Undersecretary Attorney Adelisa Arte, Regional Executive Director Jackie Kaangkan, Director Maria Matilda Chigati, Assistant Regional Director for Management, Al O. Orolfo, Assistant Regional Director for Technical Services, Ignacio Almira, Regional Director for Environment and CR, Attorney Don Clemente, Councilor Jojo Banson, Councilor Manny Sarmiento of Marikina, Engineer Jerry Plano, Flood Control Management Cluster, and Engineer Baltasar Murgan, Director MMDA Flood Control. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are gathered here today to hold the press briefing for the Marikina River Restoration Launch. Since the creation of the Task Force Build Back Better, TFBBB, was signed by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in November 17, 2020. Significant stride on the post-disaster recovery initiatives for the river basins of Cagayan have already started to restore areas and ultimately enable affected families and communities to bring back stronger and better than ever. These initiatives, according to DER Secretary Roy Simatu, take on a whole of society approach pursuant to Executive Order number 120 and reflect President Rodrigo Roa Duterte administration's priority on disaster risk reduction and environmental resilience, livelihood restoration, national level support in the response system in the community level, and of course, support to the local government in the managing their recoveries. Earlier, we have witnessed the initial dredging activities and planting of the bamboo that aims to make Marikina City another priority area of the Task Force Build Back Better. This Marikina will be flood-free soon. To officially start, may we request everyone to welcome to help me welcome Secretary Roy A. Simatu for his message.
Good morning again. I'll just follow on my message to the people down there a while ago. But I would like to extend my thanks to the media. Compared to what we have done in Cagayan, ay kukunti lang kasi ang media nakarating doon. So, magpapasalamat ako with your presence today here. And this is just not usual activity after relaunching a press conference. We will discuss things that will happen, but we expect to happen in the next several days or weeks or months of what we have launched for this morning. But certainly, we will continue to sustain this, and even if, in fact, we have already started a collection of information of why the river downstream towards Pasig ay bakit sumikip ang river. And one very important information that I would like to realize that during the flooding here in Marikina, downstream, doon sa bago magkarating ang Pasig River, hindi naman nabaha mga doon, daanan ng river. So the reason behind is, nakita ninyo kanina, nakita natin na yung river ay halos hindi gumagalaw. And hindi gumagalaw kasi almost level yung valley here in Marikina valley, you know? And at the same time, yung pinagtaniman natin kanina ng kahoy, ay yung lupa doon ay galing sa river. And saan galing naman sa river ito? Ito yung nasakasahan ng tubig ng mga lupa sa tabi ng ilog. Ang ibig sabihin ay nag-giveaway yun dahil walang kahoy sa tabi ng river doon sa upstream. And that's also the reason why magtatanim tayo talaga ng trees, especially bamboo, sa gilid ng river upstream and downstream para hindi na maanod yung mga lupa na masakasahan itong river nito. So ito yung nakita natin kanina during that tree planting, yung lupa na pinagbungkalan natin doon ay galing sa river, galing sa eroded portion at the bank of the river. So yun lang siguro masasabi ko muna at my message, just to explain to you what we have done this morning, simultaneous launching on both sides of the river at the same time yung pagtanim ng kahoy. So with that, maraming salamat and I welcome you all and I would like to extend my thanks to you. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Secretary Roy Matu. At this point, to give his message, ang ama ng lungsod ng Marikina, Mayor Marcelino Teodoro, sir.
Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Una, ang pasasalamat ng lungsod ng Marikina sa punong tagapagpaganap ng Task Force Build Back Better, Secretary Roy Matu. To Secretary Mark Villar, our gratitude also as represented here by Yusek Bernardo, and to Chairman Benjamin Avalos as represented here by Engineer Val. Engineer Val incidentally is, has been with Marikina undertaking several flood control projects. Ang flooding disaster na nangyari sa Marikina noong nakaraang Nobyembre, noong magkaroon ng bagyong Ulysses, nag-iwan ng isang katotohanan na realidad sa syudad na anumang uri ng pagulan, ang matinding pagbaha ay maaaring maganap, maaaring magdulot ng matinding kapahamakan at pinsala sa lahat. And our local capacity for disaster response, we need to strengthen it. At higit sa lahat, naniniwala ang Marikina na ang pagtutulungan ay mahalaga. A whole of government approach and a whole of society approach is it's imperative. At nagpapasalamat ang Marikina sa bayanihan pinamalas ng bansa sa tulong ng Pangulo. At si Secretary Simato, hindi alam ng lahat. Siya ay nagpunta rito sa unang pagkakataon ng pagbahang yun at nakasama ko siya na magpunta rito sa ilog ng Marikina. At nakita niya ang pangangailangan na ito ay i-dredge. That's the word that he used when we first saw the river. We need to dredge because of the siltation, the natural siltation that happened to the river. Marikina River being a downstream river, of course, what is happening upstream, the effect will be downstream. So we realize that it's a river system. It's not an isolated river, a standalone river. It's a system. So sabi niya, kailangan natin dredge. And my impression on that is that dredging will be done to widen the river, to deepen it, to get the correct ratio of the widening and the deepening of the river in order to improve the water carrying capacity of the river, Marikina River, and thus improving its water current velocity. As per our target and based on the DPWH flood control design, we need to achieve at least 4 meters per second of water velocity for Marikina River in order to avoid flooding in low-lying community. Salamat po sa Task Force Build Back Better for suitable, sustainable, long-term, and effective solutions to the perennial problem of flooding to the city. As we've been emphasizing, this is not simply dredging activity on the part of the DPWH, but this is a Marikina restoration activity. I repeat, this is a Marikina River restoration activity, which will not be done only today or in the next 65 days, but it will be a sustainable activity. As we have discussed yesterday in the office of the Secretary, that the local government is also acquiring some heavy equipment, dredgers that can be used to continue the dredging activity, and we are embarking on a joint undertaking in planting bamboos of what is suitable for as a slope protection for the embankment of the river. And the city offered a 1 hectare property as a bamboo nursery, so that from that area we could get bamboos to plant for the city. It's not something that we need to buy that will cost the government so much money, but something that we could help cultivate together in a nursery, and in the proper time we could plant it together. And we're happy also to announce that one of the first private from the private sector that will be joining the activity is Shoemart Marikina. As on our way up here, the Shoemart Marikina promised to the secretary that they will help in the such endeavor. Yung collective trauma at yung community trauma na naranasan natin ng Marikina sa pagbaha, nagpakita ito sa atin ng panibagong vigilance at natutuwa ang lahat po. Secretary Simato, maraming salamat po sa inyong initiative. At hindi lang po initiative dahil tulad na sinabi nyo kanina, hindi lang mandato po sa inyo. Ito po ay malasakit niyo po para sa mga kapwa Pilipino at para sa buong bansa. Naniniwala po ako sa sinabi nyo kahapon mo sa akin, at sabi nyo nga po, practical po ang gusto niyo mangyari ni Presidente. By administration, may equipment tayo, may mga tao tayo, we have the engineering brigade from the military that could help us. Nariyan naman lahat ang kailangan natin eh. So, isang proyekto to na hindi natin pa pinaghihintay ng budget, isang proyekto to na hindi, wala na tayo hinihintay na kung ano pang approval through the task force. We're now moving, not simply to dredge again, but to restore Marikina River to its natural topography, being Marikina being a downstream river and being a catch basin, being a valley. It's natural that Marikina will be flooded, but the idea really is to mitigate through this dredging activity by widening and deepening the water channel. Marami po akong gustong pasalamatan po, lalo na po mula ko sa DPWH, MMDA, si Yusek Bernardo, kasama po namin siya agad. At let me point also that pag nagkakasama-sama, maganda. Dahil kanina o kahapon, ang problema namin ni Secretary, kung saan itatambak o ilalagay yung mga mahuhukay o matatanggal natin lupa. And with Yusek Bernardo suggested that it be dumped inside the city, where we need to improve on some areas here in the city by backfilling the said area. Naroon kami, within a minute, tinawag ni Secretary yung si Regional Director Jackie, at sabi niya, Jackie, bigyan mo siya ng ECC, kasi hindi ka naman pwede mag-camp na walang ECC. So we could just now we're experiencing a whole of government approach at this point in time. Maraming salamat po, Secretary. Saludo po ako sa inyo. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat, Mayor Marcy.
Alam ba, pwedeng kulatilla lang. Baka hindi gawin ng MMDA yung DK. Hindi ko nabanggit. And also similarly, banggitin na rin natin, I think it's noteworthy for the media to have this kind of public information. Since Chairman Avalos is also in that instance, hindi naman formal, casual, direct. Sabi niya, sige, meron akong budget sa MMDA, yung mga diking nasira sa Provident Village, it can be written and it can be announced publicly that by next week, MMDA will start restoring the dike, and with the restoration of the dike, bamboos will be planted along also in that area to further strengthen the area against the disastrous effect of flooding. Maraming salamat din po sa MMDA. Ito ho nagagawa ng task force Build Back Better under the leadership also, of course, of our Secretary dahil sa kanyang malasakit at yung totoong paggawa. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Mayor Marcy. Sa pagkakataon po ito, tinatawagan ko si Engineer Jerry A. Plano for the plans, programs, and its methodology for the flood control in Metro Manila. Engineer Jerry A. Pano from the PPWH Flood Control Management Cluster.
Thank you very much. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Allow me to present to you on behalf of the Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Mark Villar, represented by its alternate representative, Undersecretary Robert Bernardo here, who is very tirelessly working since day one of this task force notification, tirelessly working for the outputs of DPW, especially on key results area 1, which is to build resilient infrastructures. Para po sa kalaman nating lahat, atin pong tignan sa board yung ating pong plan or methodology on how we will approach ito pong pag-restore natin and to rehabilitate Marikina River. Hindi po ito totoo na from out of nowhere, we will just dredge it, gaya po na sabi natin butihing mayor. Ito po ay pinagplanuhan, and through concerted efforts and weeks of planning and even months of planning, we were able to come up with this plan. Atin po munang bisitahin ano po ba ang nangyari dito sa parte ng Marikina River during that time. If my clicker allows, let me click it next. Series of slides pwede po natin pagbasihan. Actually, it is not only Typhoon Ulysses that affected us. You may focus your attention on the screen. Before Typhoon Ulysses on November 11 and 12, 3 typhoons visited us, this area. Typhoon Rolly in November 1 and 2, Typhoon Shoni November 6, and Typhoon Tonyo in November 9. So 4 typhoons affected this area of Metro Manila, specifically this area of Pasig Marikina River Basin, that super saturated our area. Ibig sabihin po, basa na ang ating mga tubig, ang ating kabundukan, ang ating catchment area, and with the passing of Typhoon Ulysses, hindi na po kinaya, and Typhoon Ulysses is more than 1:100 return period of storm. So napakalakas po talaga yan. And so we saw the pictures during the time. Next, let's just get through pictures. We woke up in the morning of November 12, if you may, kung naalala niyo po, that Metro Manila was triggered by a very bad typhoon or flooding that is considered to be highest in recent years. Again, ay kumpara kay Ondoy in 2009. Kung titignan po natin, it happened Ulysses in 2020, just a good 11 years. Nakakatakot po yun. Why? In hydrology, there is what we call probability or incidence, the occurrence of high magnitude typhoons. If a 100-year return period flood would occur bukas, delikado po tayo. If it occur within a 10-year span, then masyadong malakas po ang magnitude ng bagyo na dumadalaw sa atin. And with the advent of climate change, there will be more intense, there will be more frequent, and there will be more typhoons coming in the years to come. Ito po ang babala sa atin. That's why we saw in the news, nagulat tayo, baha ang Metro Manila, ang Cagayan, and even Bicol region. And these are the hardest hit provinces that we focus on sa task force, that we will devote our effort in mitigating these floods. Next. Nakita po natin ang Rosario Weir. Ito po yung dinaanan natin kanina. If you're coming from Rizal and if you're coming from Pasig, ito po ay punong-puno during that time. And even the man-made Manggahan Floodway, which is a man-made channel, actually to divert the flow of Marikina River, wag na natin padaanin sa Pasig because Pasig River, kapag dinaanan pa ng ganitong kalakas na baha, it will inundate the adjacent municipalities and cities in Metro Manila. But even that Manggahan Floodway was overwhelmed by Typhoon Ulysses during that time. Next. We also saw a floating barge itself was struck para yan po ay maipit at para yan po ay matrap in Marikina Bridge. It means na ang tubig po ay tumaas, hindi na po makadaan yung ating mga floating barge. Even the main thoroughfare of EDSA, it was flooded during that time, rendering it unpassable, and really total flooding in these portions of Metro Manila. Next. And when we try to map it out, tignan po namin, bakit bumaha at saan ang mga binaha? We saw that the red portions, tignan na lang po natin yung red portions. These are the flooded areas during the time. The upstream of the Marikina River headwater, coming from Montalban, yan po ay pulang-pula. Bakit hindi po nakadaloy ang tubig baha ng diretsyo papunta sa Pasig River or sa Laguna Dibay? At some point, there must be some point of constrictions. May pagbara. And we try to map it out and we try to look at it and we identified these areas. Next. There are choke points along the Marikina River Basin as identified by the DNR National Capital Regions. Sila po ay nagkaroon ng ground truthing, drone survey and ground truthing. Ground survey, they saw that these portions actually are the narrowest points of the river. Ano po ibig sabihin nun? If the river is a highway, meron pong mabagal na sasakyan na dumadaloy dito. That's why the slowest velocity or speed of that sasakyan will be the speed of the whole highway. Ganon din po sa ating ilog. Kapag merong point of constriction, nasabi po kanina ng ating butihing mayor that we need a good 4 meter per second. Thank you sir for that very technical understanding. No, sinabi ni mayor, nakahinga na po ako. Being an hydrologist, we know for a flood water to egress, lumabas, kailangan po natin a good velocity. And that is the project, the point of this Pasig Marikina River Channel Improvement Project under the DPWH. We will be constructing river walls along this line of Marikina and Pasig River. And we have done the phase 1, 2, and 3. Nasa phase 4 na po tayo this year. And I hope and we pray na ito po ay ma-implement so that we can increase the velocity of our river. Next. And when translated, we saw that from the old Namria map, this is the old map, ito po yung basihan natin ng mga ano ba ang alignment ng ating ilog. We saw that there are constrictions and even sandbars. These are the natural deposition of rivers, accretion of the soil, deposition of sediments in the river that form as a landmass inside. Lumiliit na po ang ibig sabihin, sumisikip na ang ating kailugan, and we need to remove this, to rehabilitate and to restore the Marikina River. Next. From that image, pumunta naman po kami sa DNR, NCR, and the LRA, and we were able to identify these lots, these properties, these parcels of lands that go inside the river. Ang record po niya nasa atin sa DNR, and this we try to enumerate. We have a list of this and we try to look at this. For simple understanding po, yung pula, yan po yung category 1 na tinatawag natin. Meaning, ito po yung mga lupa-lupaan na nasa ilog that is both unclaimed and untitled. And we try to focus in removing these red parts of parcels of lands. Okay? So with this understanding and with this knowledge, we come up with a dredging plan. And we will go into that next slide. For the river plan or the dredging plan of Marikina River, we were able to come up with the priority, phase 1 of the dredging. Ano po ito? Actually, 4 sites po yan kasama. If we are in SM Marikina now, the part of this sandbar just in front of us sa ilog, yan po ay part of the sandbar also. We will try to cut and tatabasan po natin. But as it is, we identified 3 big sites. Site A, Site B, and Site C. Site A, being yung Olandes sewage treatment plant po na tinayuan natin kanina, this is the priority site for phase 1 of the project. Then we will go into that Site C, which is the East Metro Terminal part natin, and then the Site B, which is the Marikina, SM City Marikina part of the sandbar. Next slide. If we have to look at each and individual sandbar, makita po natin dyan yung area. Ito po yung tinatawag natin na surface area. But do not be misled. Ang liliit naman yan. No. Surface area represents only the part that you can see from the satellite image. Just like the iceberg that sunk the Titanic, malawak po ito sa ilalim. In fact, we were able to compute the volume to be dredged for each and individual. For Site A, around 53,000 cubic meter. For Site B, around 25,000 cubic meter. And for Site C, we have a good 15,000 cubic meter. To give you an understanding, ang isang dump truck po is just 10 cubic meter. The big dump trucks. And we are talking here of thousands of volumes of cubic meter to be dredged. Is it an easy work? No. We have to admit, it is a hard work and we will do it systematically with the help of DPWH equipment and with the augmentation of the AAP through its Army and through its Navy, the CBs. Next. For the Site A, this is the focus that we first focus natin kanina, yung ating pong inaugurate, around 53,000 cubic meter. Next slide. This is the site that we identified. We actually would like to make a limit of 5-meter easement. Kung meron po tayong alignment ng project that will come on later in the last quarter of this year, magsisetback po tayo ron around 5 meters. Why? So that we will not disturb yung pathwalk doon. We will not disturb the alignment of the ship pile where it will be driven and where the dike will later stand on. So yan po ang ating alignment. Next. And as we speak, yung ating po mga tao sa ground, they are laying yung mga staka and the pole so that we will be able to identify it. Next slide is the Metro East Metro Terminal right under the bridge. Ito po, this also the sandbar form, around 25,000 cubic meter. It has to go. Next. That is the condition at Site C. Next slide. What is our dredging design? Ano po ang strategy that we will employ for the dredging? Next slide. For this dredging, ang ilog po ng Marikina, we are very thankful malalim. Around 10 meters or 8 meters on the average ang lalim ng tubig Marikina po natin. But when you go down sa Pasig River, around 5 meters, nagiging kalahati ang lalim. Ang luwang po is around 70 to 80 meters. The design should be around 90 meters. So, what we will do, we will dredge. Huhukayin po natin yan ng 8 meter deep and another 2 meter. For the highest water level, we will allocate a freeboard. Ito po yung freeboard na 2 meters para po hindi umapaw. Sakali ulit dumaan ang isang bagyo na katulad ng magnitude ni Ulysses. So this is the strategy of dredging as presented to us by the Bureau of Equipment through Director Noel Ilaw of the Bureau of Equipment. They prepared this one. Next. Ang mga sandbars and the siltations that we have, nakita po natin kanina that is the ideal condition in a laboratory. But kung titignan po natin ang kailugan natin, it is already silted by its riverbed, masyado na po mataas at mababaw. And with the sandbars formed at both banks, ito po yung ating tatargeted for a 10-meter depth of dredging. And when we remove this will not only increase the water capacity of the river, but will also improve the water quality of Marikina River. Next. For the volume computation, gaano karami ba ang ating mahuhukay for each site that is presented as prioritized to have the corresponding volume to be dredged? Total volume around 95,000 cubic meter. Next slide. And for the dredging implementation, you may ask, gaano katagal ba ito gagawin? We have here the schedule and the kind of equipment that we'll be needing. So far, and as we speak, the DPWH through its National Capital Region through Director Eric Ayapana and its able 9 district engineering offices has committed around 20 dredging equipment. And yung contribution pa ng Army, a good around 30 heavy equipment will be deployed for this operation. When we started Build Back Better Task Force, sa Cagayan po, we devoted around 40 heavy equipment, dredgers and hauling equipment dump trucks. Ang tanong namin, kaya ba natin i-sustain? Thankfully, when we have this call for the deployment of equipment, the Army through its the AFP through its Army and its Navy, together with the district engineering officers of the DPWH, heeded the call and they deployed their own equipment. So thankfully, if we can do it for Cagayan, for Marikina, next third part will be in Bicol, we will also do the same. The total activities we have here, the amount of equipment and the amount of fuel to be consumed to sustain dredging equipment, thankfully po, part of this planning is the allocation of resources in order to sustain this operation. Next. All in all, gaano katagal? We will devote a good 1 to 3 months of operation. If we start by this February. And as we speak, habang nandito po tayo, hindi po ceremonial lang yung nakita nyo kanina. And as we speak, gumagawa na po yung ating mga equipment. And they will be there in the coming days. Ano po makikita natin? There will be dredging operations. There will be hauling of spoil sites. There will be hauling of dredge material to the spoil sites, both in lupang aryenda that we have identified and in the proposed barangay ng by this good LGU, the City of Marikina. Maraming salamat po. And by the end of April, we will see a significant accomplishment of this dredging activity in time. Tama-tama pagdating po ng Mayo, Hunyo, yan po ang pasukan na naman ng bagyo. That's why we will see the effect of this. And next slide, the methodology to be used, ano po ang gagawin natin? Sige po, this is some sort of a animation. Just click on the next slide. If this is the sandbar, hindi po kasi mainam na we have to allocate areas first, and we divide it into 12 segments or 12 blocks as we call it. Ito po yung strategy natin. First, we will do the downstream. Why? If we do it in the upstream, as presented by the Bureau of Equipment, there will be some flow and it will destabilize the sandbar, making it very dangerous para po sa ating mga operators. That's why we will do it in downstream. And you can see, nakita nyo po, yung ating pong ground terrain sandbar natin hindi po stable. We will do it from the land side. We will allocate excavators, mga backhoe, and then together with the hauling equipment, yung mga dump trucks tatabi. And because these are long reach arm backhoes and even backhoes that can go inside the river and come out. Amphibious pool, tawagin natin yung pwede sa lupa, pwede sa ilog. They will just place it on the hauling equipment to be transported or hauled in our designated spoil sites. Sige po. So you can have an image of what we will do in the coming days. Sige lang po, pakiclick. You will see that we will do it block by block. Put it in a temporary spoil bank like that or piling. But if the soil or the ground allows, we can immediately put it in the dump truck. Kasi po, nung nasa Cagayan is all the different riverbed material, sandy lumi, meaning hindi po nahihirapan po yung mga dump trucks natin, especially with the wheeled ones. Nahihirapan po. So for this, nakita naman natin mukhang stable dito. We can always, we can readily put it on our dump trucks to be hauled at designated spoil sites. Next. So there will be also dewatering time. Alam naman po natin that ang hauling natin ay by land. Kailangan po natin patuyuan, and this will actually slows the operation a little. Why? Hindi po natin pwedeng ilagay yung parang nilugaw na dredge material immediately into the dump truck at ibabiyahin natin. Tayo po ay pagagalitan ng mga LGUs na dadaanan natin. Magpuputik po. And it will damage the roadway. That's why we have to do it. Let it set for the meantime, care of water, dewatering before we haul it out. Next. And there will be the equipment to do that. Next. Sige po, animation na lang yan. And siguro yung last part ng presentation will show you the equipment that we have mobilized and deployed so far. Sige po. We have this equipment coming from our DPWH NCR regional equipment facilities in Bikutan, nakatransport na po rito, and you might have seen, nakita nyo po yung dalawang malaking amphibious excavator, and these are actually the ones that will do the bulk of the work. Next. Sige po, so you can just click on it and makita nyo po the equipment that we have. Like I said, around 30 equipment to be deployed in this site. When we started this po, ang sabi sa amin ni Secretary Mark Villar sa DPWH, never leave any stone unturned in terms of flood mitigation and in deployment. Utilize the resources that we have in DPWH in order to assist the flood affected people. Ang totoo po, with this kind of project, many would have a say or two na wala naman kami nakikita or dapat kalsada or dapat tulay. We can always do those things, those projects. But you know, when it comes to the context of flood mitigation, building a culture of prevention is never easy. Napakahirap po. In fact, the benefits. Ano ba yung makikita natin dyan? We might not see it now. But the cost of prevention will be visible in the distant future. In fact, these benefits might not be tangible, hindi pa natin makita. But actually, the benefits will come in the form of the disasters that we will prevent happening in the future. And with that, Secretary Mark Villar, as presented by Undersecretary Robert Bernardo, sir, we have delivered our equipment here. Secretary Roy Simato, we were together in Cagayan, and we rolled out our equipment. The equipment are here again, sir. They are ready for your disposal. Lead us, and we will roll as one. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. Engineer Jerry A. Plano, Flood Control Management Cluster at the MMDA. Muli, ang mga naririto pong opisyal ng gobyerno ay si PNR Secretary Roy A. Simato, Marikina City Mayor Mercedino R. Teodoro, DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, Engineer Baltasar Melgar, Director ng MMDA Flood Control, Undersecretary Benny D. Antiporta, Undersecretary Attorney Jonas Ariones, Undersecretary Attorney Juan Miguel Puna, Undersecretary Ed Leonardo, Undersecretary James O. Sampulna, Undersecretary Rodolfo C. Garcia, Undersecretary Annalisa Reguerta Te, Assistant Secretary Daniel Miser, Regional Executive Director for NCR Jackie Kaancan, ARD Al Orolfo, ARD Ignacio Almira, Director Tucci Gadi, Director Rolly Castro, EMD Director for NCR, Attorney Don Clemente, Councilor Jojo Banson, and Councilor Manny Sarmiento of Marikina, Engineer Medel Chua of DPWH Metro Manila District, Engineer Eric Ayatano, Regional Director, DPWH NCR, Brigadier General Gabriel Viray of AFP, and Mr. Melvin A. Cruz from the Office of the Mayor. Sa pagkakataon po ito, magkakaroon po tayo ng open forum at ang magmomodulate po sa atin ay walang iba kundi ang tinaguriang pambansang basurero ng Pilipinas, Undersecretary Benny D. Antiporta.
Good morning, everybody. Question, pakilagyan lang sa gitna ng microphone, please, para today, iurong na lang, harap na lang dito. So, pakitaas na lang po yung kamay ng mga magtatanong, please. Okay, please, Felix Tambongko. Yan lang. Paki-identify na lang.
Good morning po. Felix Tambongko po from DCRJ. You say good morning. Yan pong activity na rin nyo kami na may portion yung lower part ng Marikina na almost 40 plus ang lawak ng ilog. So may taon na rin ito. Maliban ito kasi yung continuation ng Marikina dito. Part of Pasig. Ay,
Hindi masyado marinig. Sige.
ayun. Part of Pasig po yun. Yung binabagay ko kanina na almost 40 plus na lang yung wide nung ilog. So ano pong plano ron? Karugtong na rin po kasi o diretso na nung rehab ng Marikina.
Ganito yan. Tama yung sinasabi nila ng analogy kanina. Nag-umpisa ka yan sa halimbawa, dito nga. 4 lane dito, pagdating mo doon sa mag 1 lane na lang, ano may slow down talaga dito. Pag nag-slow down, bahala yung mangyayari yan. Hanggat hindi niya may tapon uli yung mga tubig, dahan-dahan rin. So yung 40 meters na nangyari ngayon doon sa baba, ay yun that caused the flooding dito. Otherwise, kung tuloy-tuloy yan, magkarating ka dyan, hindi magpa-flood dito. Diretso yung tubig sana. Kaya yun ang ating effort. Okay, tinanong mo na yung 40 meters na yun, anong gagawin? Tingnan natin, mawawide. Kasi may mga iba dyan, may mga improvement sections dyan. Ayan sa may Banda Pasig. So, pag-usapan namin dito yung National Housing Authority kung pwede nilang ma-priority to be relocated para ma-widen lalo yung, kasi nandun sila eh. Ito yung lugar na sinasabi 40 meters. So ito kayo ng ating number one concern para naman tuloy-tuloy yung agos ng tubig. Isa pa, may mga structures dyan. Lagay pa nga sila ng mga sementado na dyan eh. Dapat may easement sana yan na 3 meters, wala na. Tubig na kagad, tapos pader. Hindi pwede yun. Talaga magde-demolish ito. 3 meters, ano yan, easement. We have to say that in the easement law, no structure will be built 3 meters sa back of the river. So yan ang tititan namin, kaya sumikip na talaga yung nandun. And likewise, find out kung paano sila nagkaroon ng titulo mga ito. And in fact, we are coordinating with the LRA kung paano nagkatitulo at saka yung DNR kung paano nagkatitulo dito. Dapat kasi di ba tituluhan yan eh, tabi ng river. Sige, yun lang ating magagawa ngayon. Tinignan mo kanina yung plano dito sa Marikina. Ano lang ito? Umpisa pa lang ito. Pero as we go down, makikita natin sumisigit na yun, then we'll already enforce the law, easement law. Salamat.
Parang question sa bibigyan
Go ahead, go ahead.
Kasi laging nasisisi kasi yung ano, pagkano ba, isa na no? Yes.
Go ahead.
Isa. Kasi pagka may ba 2018 tas Ulysses, laging may sisihan. At ang pinaka-palaging nasisisi po yung pagkakalbo ng Marikina watershed, illegal quarrying operation na nagre-resulta sa quarrying activity suspension. So, nag-create po ang DNR through the Mines and Geosciences Bureau ng 3 composite team to conduct an investigation with regards to quarry. So, ano na pong update dito at meron na po bang final report yung composite team? Maraming salamat po.
Again. Sige, ano yan?
Yung quarry suspension, may report na po ba yung composite team na nilikha ng MGB, DNR through the Mines and Geosciences Bureau?
Yes, basically, nakikita naman nila when it comes to quarry, no? Very minimal. Yung, of course, may silk din ang gagaling sa kanya pag umulan. Natural na data ngayon iba na pupunta rin sa ilog. But very minimal. Basically, when it comes to flooding issue, ang talaga nagiging problema is yung talaga galing sa tuktok na naging mga subdivision na ngayon. So, isang malaking dahilan yan. And of course, yung climate change natin. And ito na nga, nire-retrieve natin yung mga easement na para sa bayan talaga. Makikita naman natin, marami na talaga encroachment dito sa ating river. Kung kaya ibabalik natin ito, no? Then after that, makikita natin talaga yung malaking pagbabago nitong problema natin sa Plano.
Thank you very much po.
Okay. Please, next question please.
Morning po, Luisa po for GT4. Nabanggit niyo po sa 3 sites, yung Barangay Olandes, parang there are informal settlers po na maaapektuhan. Na-mention niyo po kanina, Secretary, na may plano na po ang NHA regarding this. Saan po ba sila i-renovate? And mga ilang residente po ba yung maapektuhan?
Dito sa aming task force, composed mga 14 member secretaries sa cabinet. At kasama rito yung ano dito, yung si Secretary Escalada.
NHA po.
Yes, ito yung relocation, pagre-relocation sila. Pina-ano ko na, dinirect ko na sila, napunta yung community dito. Somewhere dito sa may, lampas na ng Marikina eh, gaba na, sa Pasig side na ito. So yan ang napupunta natin, include Santolan side, at ito yung mga ano yan eh. Almost 500 families yata yung initial na dito. So we'll advise them, we find out really, itong next effort namin, kasi na-concentrate kami sa Manila Bay, yung mga informal settlers doon. This time, I think this will be the first time talaga na mangyayari rin dito because of the flooding dito. Ang na-plan natin dito sa Marikina River. So Pero yung mga nandun, hindi sila nagpa-flooded doon. Let's say yung mga informal settler. Pero kung paluwagan natin yan, hindi na masyado mag-flood dito. So ito ngayon ang gagawin natin. We'll make a program for the relocation. Now, it depends now on the relocation administration to plan kung saan sila maaaring pupuntahan.
Secretary, to make it clear lang po, yung iba kasi, nabanggit na kanina na parang may titulo po yung lupa na yun. Ano ba, i-investigahan po kung paano sila nagkaroon ng titulo dun sa lupa na yun.
Sir, yung iba raw ho na nagkaroon ng lupa, ng titulo, yung kanilang lupa, na alam natin hindi naman dapat magkatitulo, i-investigahan daw po ba natin?
Dalawang pagayan kung paano sila nagkatitulo. Unahin namin sa DNR mismo. Check namin kung paano sila nagkaroon ng titulo. I will be going investigation into kung sino yung mga nandyan noon, kung how come that they were able to get it like that. Dahil kasi hindi pwede patituluhan siya sa ano dyan during the time na magkakatituluhan. So pangalawa, tignan rin natin kung what happened along the way. And they are in fact, dito sa Marikina River, lahat ng mga titles niyan, nakunan namin lahat. And in fact, part of the river dito may titulo Yung tubig na mismo, may titulo na yan. Kasi minsan kasi nagbago yung yung kurba ng river. So, dati may titulo ng tubig na, yung pakate naman sa kabila, naging title down as well. So, meron yan a way of legally knowing all these things.
Last na po, Secretary, yung budget na lang po for this project, how much po yung budget natin and saan po natin piniluhan po naman yun, how much po yung budget for the restoration po ng Marikina? Or
well, actually, katulad rin ito sa components ng mga projects na gagawin, ito by administration ito, yung DPWH ay meron na silang built-in kasi nandiyan sa Executive Order 120 na whatever existing budget of the department na involved dito sa dredging ay they will use their own budget initially. Now, in the meantime, ang report naman ng Secretary of the DPWH ay they have enough fuel para dito. So nakikita natin, pinaragan na nila yung mga equipment nila mga bago, brand new. So pati army, nakita naman ninyo, yung army equipment na dyan, i-share ang budget ng fuel para pag ganito. It will, initially, walang budget ito. Kami from lang muna, initial resources, available financial resources na nandiyan sa appropriations nila. Ito ngayon, gagawin natin ito. Now, in kaso na magkukulang ito, I directed them to submit to me, to the task force, yung ilan ang magkano magastos nila along the way. Let's say kung mag-spill over ito ng next year, ay again na lang appropriations ito. Pero ito ngayon, as of now, walang budget estimate dito. Yung lang, katulad yung sinasabi ko kanina, na yung food forward, na ipapaano mo sa mga livelihood, yung katulong lang nila yan, ay this will also be taken by the DSWD. Pero rin sila yatang budget ito. So, in the event na kukulangin naman ito, we will ask sa Malacanang for additional funding.
last na po, Secretary, 65 days po yung target natin. May nakikita po ba tayong challenge para hindi makamit yung 65 days target?
Ang challenge na lang dito is really to do something for the river. Na ma-restore natin, dadagdagan natin ng lalim para mas malaki quantity ng water volume na ma-absorb ang river during a downpour. Kasi mababa na kasi yung mga iba parte ng river. Titignan natin lahat yan, the challenge. At saka yung ating masolve yung mga illegal structures sa tabi ng river. This are the challenge as far as you're concerned and the DPWH side at saka yung the legal way for telling them to be relocated naman dito sa mga informal center.
Thank you. From the region, sir.
Nila Overcome the review. Itatanong ko lang po kung nasunod po yung proper alignment na hinihingi ng LGU ng Marikina. Kung yun po ang susundin natin.
Yung proper alignment daw na hinihingi ng LGU na Marikina kung nasunod daw po. Yung alignment daw po ng river.
Ang sabi ko nga yung alignment depends on the history of the river kasi gumagalaw yan. Now, itong alignment, we have several documents. In fact, we have documents at the Cadastral Survey 1911. Nandyan yung mapa ng river na yan Saka kung kaninong lupa ang mga nandyan Now, nagkuha rin kami ng alignment using the satellite in 1980. Then, from 1980, every 5 years, nandyan yung satellite photo. Nagkagalaw Yung, so, ngayon ay every time na may nagbabago yung katulad rin sa Cagayan River, minsan dito siya, tapos lilipat siya. So ito ngayon yung mga pinag-reconcile na nila ito, tapos with the involvement of the local government unit. So ano naman yan, nagre-reconcile mo na yan, pero yung sinasabi mo, what could be the proper line na ngayon? Well, meron task force na parang team na ginawa mo to come out with the recommendations mga ito. In conformity with the NAMRIA, yung cadastral survey ng DNR, at saka yung may mamapa na rin ng local government unit.
Tapos na lang po,
For reconciliation.
may exact figure na po tayo, pila po yung mga illegal structures sa mga reclamation areas na aalisin po natin ng river.
May I request the NCR who is in charge of this, of council this.
Sure.
I would like to interject with the question of Luis and Neil. Yung illegal structure, for a fact, wala namang illegal structure na tatanggalin o informal settlers dito sa initial stage. Malinaw yun kasi it might bring about panic in the adjoining community considering that Marikina has suffered recently the effects of Typhoon Ulysses, so we don't want to aggravate the pressure on the part of the nearby community. Initially, my understanding based on the map presented by Jerry here, ito yung planong susundin. Humihingi rin ako. Nakita natin yung site A, B, and C. So, walang informal settlers doon. So, when the secretary said that there are some informal settlers that will be affected, this is further downstream in Pasig, along Pasig River in the Pasig area. So I think the Secretary has an inventory on this and social preparations are being done, consultation with the communities concerned. And I think Director Jackie here is the one being tasked to undertake such consultation for those communities to be affected. So let us be clear on this matter. For a fact, there will be no displacement and no demolition of informal settlers at the initial stage on this part of the Marikina River. Kasi there are no existing. Meron marahil na ilang reclaimed area on the eastern terminal side, on the other side of the bank. And yun yung site B and site C in the map. Kung titingnan nyo kanina, titingnan nyo natin pasensya na, nag-interject. Baka lang kasi misdirected yun. Ang sinasabi sa atin, magdi-dredge pa sa baba. Dahil hindi pwedeng hindi mag-dredge kasi ang principle parang highway. we need to maintain the speed on the highway. Pag yung highway naging local road, yung national highway naging maliit na alley, talagang makikipot at babagal yung takbo ng traffic. Similarly, we're applying the same principle for the Marikina.
I check, Siman. With regard po dun sa, sa reclamation area, yung kay Congressman Billy Fiata, matatanggal po ba yung matatamaan niya dun sa natin?
Yung sagutin ko muna kanina. So, I agree po yung sinasabi po ni Mayor, yung ginawa po ng DNR NCR is to map it and get the actual drone survey. Ano po, yung ginawa namin, nag-drone and then patong yung mga mapa. So, we identified po 3 areas po, which is the sites of today's event. So, wala po talagang yung sinasabi natin ISF or anything structure, it's just a landmass na saka part ng ano. So, yung sinasabi po ni Secretary, we have already done kasi yung pababa downstream going to Pasig, and we have seen na may mga ISF that will be addressed as part of the activities of the Task Force BBB going downstream na nagiging bottleneck. So, yun po yun, yung sinabi ni Mayor is yung the areas, the sites today. Yun po yun.
With regard po dun sa, sa reclamation area, tatamaan po ba yung PFCT na tinatawag kay Congressman Billy? Di ko lang yata malapit sa Marikina, kasi Marikina.
So yung in-identify po ng mahabang proseso po ginawa ng DNR NCR, no? May court survey, lahat na po, research sa LRA, and then also the assessor's office. So inuna po namin, kinategorize muna namin yung mga safe areas, meaning untitled. So yung untitled po, it is public land. So yun po ang prioritize, which yung sites na tinuro natin yung tatlo. So the others would be dealt with depending on, ito naman po sinasabi ni Secretary kanina, that will be reconciled, harmonized, may mga tinitignan tayong parameters. So yun po yun. So yung inactionan po ngayon are untitled property which belongs to the government.
So yung BNCT, untitled po yun o titled?
May mga portion po doon na nasa tubig na ina-identify. So we are still harmonizing po all the records. All the records po from us, from the LRA, as well as from the assessor's office.
Thank you po.
So that is Regional Executive Director of the DNR NCR, Jackie Kaankan, C-A-N-C-A-N. Okay? Para kilala nyo. So next question please. Okay, please.
Good morning po, Secretary. Sir, we were able to interview some of the residents dun sa Barangay Olandes kanina. Nakausap din namin sila. They were hopeful na masosolve na po yung flooding problem sa lugar nila every time na may downfall. However, they are appealing na kasi daw po dun sa plano sa Site A, it appears na maapektuhan yung landmass na tinataniman nila so far. Ang sinasabi nila bakit daw hindi po i-excavate or ba't daw po hindi ang i-dredge ay yung nasa kabilang side, which itinambak lang naman daw in the recent years, hindi naman daw po yun. And yun daw po yung, sa tingin nila, yun daw po yung cause ng pagpunta ng tubig sa Olandes community every time na may downfall.
Kanina lang address yung question.
To Secretary Simato or anyone else.
Historical yung nangyari dito sa ano. Kaya naman kung magkasama. Hindi ko masyado ito. What happened in Marikina?
Maybe yung appeal po kasi nila bakit daw po hindi yung kabilang side, yung side A, yung i-dredge. Kasi kung yung ang nasa plano daw po maapektuhan yung mga tinataniman nila, pinakikinabangan daw po nila yon following the Ulysses impact. Doon daw po sila kumukuha ng dagdag na income, pagkain,
Bakit nagtatanim tayo sa hindi naman sa kabilang sana
No sir, bakit daw hindi yung kabila yung ukayin? Instead of yung farm.
Lahat naman yata, both side naman ang hukayan eh.
site A, sir.
Both side, sir. Both side. The dredging is, nakita nyo yung drawing kanina na gano'n. Meaning kung anong lalim dito, yun rin ang lalim dito sa kabila. Kasi yung kanina,
Maybe would like to clarify kasi sir, sa picture yung red portion was only on the left.
Pwede ba masagot?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Lahat po na ito ay pinag-aralan. Sabi nga po ni Director Jackie kanina, sinabi ito, marami pong ginamit na dokumento dito. At tiniyak namin na lahat po ng dating panahon pa, 1980 pa yata yun, ibig sabihin yung po yung formation ng river. Nung nasabi po namin yan, we take it into consideration, lahat po na yan buhukayin, lahat po na yan tatabasan. Wala po tayong dito i-accept. Kaya po kahit sino po yung dito, andyan po si Mayor, tinutulungan po tayo. Kahit naman po lumalabas na, yung po kanina natin po kay Mayor, na yung lahat ng mga displays ay may isip po ang ating munisipyo, ang ating city government, kung paano matutulungan yung mga tao na naapektuhan. Yung pinarinig po kay Mayor kanina na maganda po yun, na hindi naman po display siguro yun. Bibigyan po ng city government ng karapatang trabaho sa mga display.
So last,
Lahat po ng basta po kumros po doon sa linya na dinefine po ng DNR na sinabi po ng LRA, mga walang titulo, yung mga nag-improve talaga sa river, yung po tatanggalin lahat.
last na lang po. We're making sure po no na maging consistent yung 90 meters with across the river system. Tama po.
Marami pong challenge dyan sa 90 meters. In fact, hindi po namin pwedeng itago na meron po minsan may mga tulay na yan na nagawa pa ng mga unang panahon. Meron nga pong tulay dyan, 65 meters lang. Pero we are addressing that problem. And in lieu of that, siguro, yung po ano man po yung epekto noon, ang DPWS po ay nag-iisip ng mga pamamaraan para po makompensate po kung ano man po yung volume o kung ano man yung nakaharang na yun, gagawa po kami ng paraan. As much as possible, we want, pero hindi po tayo 90 meters ha. Maaari po kung ano po lumabas na linya ng survey, yun po ang susundin natin. Hindi po marami po tayong medyo magtatagal tayo kung ano na lang po yung alignment na binigay po ng DNR base po sa kanilang mga datos sa LRA, di ba kami titulo. We will take it into considerations at yun po ang gagawin namin, buhukain namin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please.
Po, yung kailangan ng ASCNs po. Mag-follow up na po ako sa questions na Tribune and TV5 po. To clarify lang po, kanina, site A, Olandes, where we were kanina, yun po yung i-dredge, tama po ba? Yung area na yun. Kung saan tayo kanina.
Yes.
Pero yung other side po nun, kasama po ba yun or hindi po?
Kung nakita niyo po doon sa kabilang side, may equipment po kami kanina na gumagawa na doon. Hindi niyo po ba napansin yung equipment namin doon sa may tulay? Nasabay pong naguhukay.
Pero sir, kasi kanina po sa presentation, yung sa may side A ay yung side na po.
Kagaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, kung ano po yung alignment na nakita natin na nag-i-cross po doon sa linya ng river, tatanggalin po natin and i-operate po namin ng equipment. Makikita niyo tatlong site po yun di po ba ABC? So napansin nyo kanina sa presentation?
Yes, yes.
Yun po ang initial phase na. But later on, we will wait for the DNR identification kung alin po yung susunod namin dito. Dire-diretso po ito.
So sir, you're saying po natatamaan din eventually yung sa kabilang side po?
Apo. Kung po yun ay pumasok sa linya na dinefine po ng survey ng DNR, kasama po yun sa aided dredge.
Dito sir sa project natin, are we going to follow po yung original alignment and yung national course of the river?
Wala po kami pasyan sa original. Ang pasyan po natin ngayon, yung survey po natin ngayon na ginagawa, kung ano po yung i-define nung pong nasa linya talaga. Hindi ko po masasabi na alignment ng river, nagbabago po yun Pero base po sa survey, yun po ang aming basihan. Nasa datos po ito. Siyempre, meron po coordinates ito. Meron po linya. Yun po ang basihan natin. Hindi po yung kung saan dumadaan yung tubig. Siyempre po, kung nakikita ninyo, may mapa po Kung napansin niyo po, may mga coordinates. So yun po ang susundin natin.
Thank you po.
So, if there's no more questions, siguro kaya na tayo ng tanghalian pagka endorse na. Thank you very much everybody. Hirap. So mag-lunch na po tayo. Thank you very much.
Yan, so yan po muna. Once again po, no, yan, nandito tayo sa launching ng Marikina River Restoration na umpisa na nga po ngayong araw. Yan, maraming salamat sa tumutok. Abangan nyo po yung mga magiging upload natin. And God bless everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Maraming salamat po.